Princess Anne has visited one of the most remote and treacherous regions of the Soviet Union, the Kremlin.
Michael Fish was stopped yesterday for drunk driving. Only 24 hours before, he said there was absolutely no chance of that.
And an item of late news. Dean Martin is said to be drinking himself to death. Yes, that news is about 40 years late.
Hello, welcome to Up Your News on a day when Russian Federation leader Boris Yeltsin declared in a speech, "Moscow belongs to me." Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev has said that Boris's wild speeches should be taken with a pinch of salt, and he's sending him to Siberia to get it. The Home Secretary, David Waddington, is to impose a police no-go area around Stonehenge. It's called Brixton. With scientists finding salmonella in eggs and chickens, listeria in cooked chill foods, botulism in irradiated vegetables, and now algae poisoning in shellfish, farmers have come up with a solution to Britain's food crisis: eat the scientists. And a 78-year-old Bournemouth woman was so engrossed in an episode of Home and Away that she didn't realise her house was on fire until passers-by rescued her. Then, when they realised what she'd been watching, they threw her back in. Next month, Mrs. Thatcher is summoning Britain's top film producers to hear the government's ideas for reviving the British cinema industry. No doubt there will be strings attached.
Darling, what did she say?
Is there any more money?
Darlings, loves, there is some more money.
Oh, phew. How much?
Not much, but it is enough to make a film.
Oh.
Well, who are we going to get to write the script? Well, unfortunately, the script's already been written. Oh. Yes. It is. It's really about the last 10 years in Britain's history.
Oh, low-budget horror.
No. It tells how a young research chemist from Grantham decides to save her country from the grip of socialism and usher in a golden age of single-figure inflation, booming trade, and freely available low-cost housing.
So it's science fantasy?
Precisely. Now, the good news is that Ridley has agreed to direct.
Ridley Scott? But that's brilliant!
No, Nicholas Ridley, the trade minister.
Now, darling, what is the film going to be called?
Quite a few things, I should think.
Yes, now we have a working title. The PM rather fancies My Brilliant Career.
Oh, couldn't you have come up with something snappier, more commercial?
What about Dead Welfare Society?
The voters must be crazy.
Yes, all right. But the fact remains that we have a star, we have a product, and we even have a director.
Aren't we forgetting something? The leading man?
Yes, I was just coming to that, darlings. Now, the PM has this husband, you see, sings a little, dances a little, drinks rather a lot, actually, and she was wondering whether, no, don't...
A new survey says that British consumers are too heavily in debt and need to be persuaded against borrowing. So it's well done, mortgage firm Key Consultants, for their new advertising campaign. The latest victims of the bailiffs are debt-ridden pop group 5 Star. The band will be known in future as Bed and Breakfast. A priest in Naples who allowed a repentant mafiosi to address his conversation said the gangster had made him an offertory he couldn't refuse. And apparently East German women have more orgasms than West German women because East Germany makes poorer TV programs. But their washing machines give great spin cycle. Of course, it was in the Balkans today that the earth moved, really. Meanwhile, the French have given an emphatic no to British beef. But perhaps they're reckoning without the bulldog spirit of our intrepid cattle.
Is this your first mission to France, Sarge?
God, no. I was in Nîmes.
What, you were a vet in Nîmes?
Well, not quite. I was with a vet in Nîmes. 76 it was, the Lamb Wars.
Well, how come you were in the Lamb Wars?
I was undercover. I'm an old hand.
An old co-hand, in fact. Why are you here, Sarge? You could have retired by now. Nice little pension, all the flies you can swat, the occasional butter commercial.
Well, them bloody frogs reckon I'm mad. Me, mad. Whoa there, Mr. Churchill. Oh, that's a nice pink elephant you've got behind your ear, Mr. Solzhenitsyn. We're only booked for the weekend. And then the Queen sent us a nice Christmas tree. Ridiculous.
Oh, Sarge, I'm nervous.
Come on, remember your training. Now, what do we do when we land?
We bury the parachutes and then we infiltrate the local herd.
Correct. Now, phrases you might need. No, sir, I do not have mad cow disease.
Non, monsieur, je n'ai pas le mal de vache en topical. Ooh la la.
Correct. Now, when we've been accepted by the locals, we start breeding.
Breeding? Ooh la la.
Right, and make sure they're French bulls that you're doing it with. They're the ones with the gauloises dangling out their mouths.
Approaching drop zone, check all equipment.
Okay, this is it. Now remember, the folks back home are relying on us.
Oh, I'm scared. What do I do when there's some horrible garlic-smelling Gallic bull about to do his business?
Simple. Just lie forwards and think of John Selwyn Gummer.
Oh.
Geronimo!
The opening of Britain's first museum of fox hunting went drastically wrong today when visitors chased the guide through the exhibition and ripped him to shreds in the gift shop. And on the 5th anniversary of the Heysel Stadium disaster, here's Joe Brand.
It's 5 years since English football clubs were banned from Europe because of the Heysel Stadium disaster. Pity they weren't banned from England as well. And this week we'll hear the final verdict on the 14 Liverpool fans still facing charges related to Heysel. And with the World Cup coming up, I fear it's going to be impossible to separate the Neanderthal behaviour of the fans from the matches themselves. Thank you. Let's face it, there's a group of fans who don't think they've had a decent time at the match unless they've relieved somebody of their nose. I actually like football, but stopped going to matches a few years ago when I barely managed to hold on to my liver at a Crystal Palace game. The main problem with football hooliganism is that innocent bystanders get hurt. I'm perfectly happy for hooligans to kill each other. In fact, I'm all for it, providing they keep away from everyone else. All we need in Sardinia is a yobbo pen where these prepubescent morons can go and damage each other to their heart's content. I'd buy the video. And the way the game itself is going, perhaps some of the England players might like to pop into the yobbo pen before a match and vent their frustration at being crap by duffing up a group of people who have all the charm of a Hell's Angels underpants. Joe Brand, up your news, about to get beaten up by a group of skinheads, I should imagine.
We have news that British police are hoping to stop any violence in Italy during the World Cup by sending undercover spies in to infiltrate the crowds of English fans.
Excuse, can I sit here?
Yeah, darling, yeah.
Yeah.
Over here.
No, go on, have one of ours now.
Oh, all right, cheers.
So anyway, I think one of the good things about Robson resigning is that Terry Butcher won't be around for much longer neither.
Yeah. And then Gazza, of course, you know, I mean, like Gazza over there all that Latin tackling and jostling in the box, he might lose his rag.
Yeah. Right, well, that's enough talking. There's some Irish fans. Come on, truncheons out, lads. Rolled up copies of The Sun.
So what do you think about Lineker then?
No, I'd always rather drink Heineken myself.
What?
Oh, Lineker. Barry. Oh, yeah, no, he's great. I think he's improved ever since he started playing for the Tottenham Hotspurs.
Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's go and scuff over a few Italians, yeah?
Yeah, do you fancy scuffing over a few Italians, do you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Only we'd better be a bit careful because we don't want the pigs getting us, eh?
Yeah. In fact, actually...
Funnily enough.
You're next!
More sport. A top tennis umpire who left his wife for a younger umpire has caused a scandal at Wimbledon. Now he'll have 2 sets of free tickets. Though that's not as shocking as the likely cost of strawberries during next month's Wimbledon fortnight. There'll be 60 pence each, or 70 pence if you want the red bit as well. And spending in state primary schools now amounts to only 60p per pupil each week. They should be buying them books, not strawberries. The Rugby League World Cup, which was found by a man who'd stopped his car to pee, will be returned to the Rugby League as soon as it's dry. Up Your News man with the microphone is still out on the streets.
What do you think of these economic ramps?
Well, they've got to improve eventually, but I mean, there's several things one can point to that causes it.
How long have we got?
Well, hopefully the politicians are going to tell us later this year.
Of course, economic ramps with a slippery surface can be very nasty indeed for a small business.
Yes, they can, and I suppose a lot of small businesses are going to fall by the wayside.
The other problem is dropping right off the end.
Yes, exactly right.
Ever seen that happen?
Yes.
Nasty?
Well, yes, that's why I've had to retire.
Dr. Graham, call me Gradient, has recently blurted out in a television interview there must be an ideal angle of inclination for an economic ramp. Which would you choose? 1 in 2, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 11, or 1 in 15?
1 in 5.
Your ideal economic ramp then would be perhaps what colour?
Red, claret,
For your
something like that, you know.
A pastel shade of claret?
Yeah.
For your economic ramp?
Let's take a look at some of the pictures in today's papers. The Times was there for the third annual meeting of the M25 Survivors Club. And in the Sun, the Duke of Kent was caught explaining the complex plotline of Little Jack Horner to the Princess of Wales. And the Independent has exposed a hairdressing racket, Andre Agassi, the Pat Cash lookalike. With his reputation plummeting in the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev was said to be hoping for a more respectful reception at his summit meeting in Washington. But he may have been surprised.
I don't know how long we're waiting. It's already very long.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Beetroot Head. I mean, Mr. Gorbachev. I'd just like to take this opportunity of welcoming you personally to the White House.
Not so fast, comrade.
Now, you spotted the old joy buzzer, eh?
We were expecting Mr. George Bush.
Yeah, well, the president said that in recognition of your, how shall I put it, your somewhat uncertain status back in Russia, he thought that I'd be the most appropriate person to handle the preliminary discussions.
And who are you?
I'm Chuck Wibley, the White House sanitation engineer. Well, because you're in the shit back home, ain't you?
This is an insult!
Yeah, well, Jesus, I mean, it was either me or Dan Quayle. You see, the way things are going for you at the moment, we don't have to treat you with quite the same respect anymore, Gorby.
Mr. Gorby, please.
Da. And who says I got problems anyway?
Yeah, well, all the rusky shops are empty, ain't they?
Yeah, the Soviet summer sales are always a big success.
Da, people queue for them all year round.
Well, ain't it true that Boris Yeltsin's undermining your authority?
Yes! Gorbachev is in full control of the Soviet people. He commands respect. He takes orders from...
Sit down, you old fool.
Nobody. Sorry, comrade, nobody.
Well, ain't it true the most humiliating of all, you just came back from holiday in Canada?
All right, I give in. Tell me what to do.
Right. Okay, well, for starters, you got to allow a united Germany to stay in NATO and grant Lithuania its freedom.
Da.
Then you got to put this fish on your head, stand up and hop about singing with an oink oink here and an oink oink there.
Yeah, with an oink oink here and an oink oink there.
Gee, things sure have changed for you, ain't they, Mr. Gorbachev?
Da, we used to get Reagan to do this before we'd agree to any of his demands. With an oink oink here and an oink oink.
A holiday in Canada. Finally, we turn to the world of showbiz. Meryl Streep is to star in a new film of Greta Garbo's life. She's going to play her as an Albanian peasant girl. She hasn't done that accent before. And Jason Donovan is planning to settle permanently in Britain. I'm catching the next plane to Australia. Good day.
Madonna didn't even pause during a concert when she smashed her teeth with a microphone.
Yeah, well, she was married to Sean Penn, wasn't she?